D.2. I want to use this part to explain some of the questions from midterm test. For the results of the midterm test, I want to use two parts. This video, part 1, and next I will start module 5, part 8.1. So I will do the second part of midterm result. All right, so let's start. The first question, question number 2. Because I lost my statistics. I mean, for the problem is the software I used. One software, for some reason, it did not save my, writing on it. So next time I will change a different one. Here I just use my impression to explain. Based on my, roughly my impression. All right, so this one, it is an easy question. You had a similar question in your homework, number 1. But several students, so not too many, but quite some. I estimate about 4 or 5 students. Those students, I think they didn't read the question carefully. So they thought, so this was the same question as the one in homework number 1. It's different, right? So usually, so my way, my style to give you test questions, I never give the same question twice. The second time, if I give you a similar question, you will see I modify some critical part, some important piece. Here, the important piece is this. I use the italic. I try to emphasize that part. If you read the question carefully, within the same network. Within the same network. We know local network, right? So on the internet is a global network, right? So internet, so this is a global network. But there are many small local networks connect to the internet, right? So many companies, they have their internal network. So many local networks, right? In their same network, so inside each local network, then private IP addresses are used, for different machines. Those private addresses inside that network, local network, they cannot have the same value, right? If they have the same values, how to identify different machines, right? So think about that, okay? So the question is different from the one you saw in homework number 1. Read the question carefully, especially when you see some question similar to the one you did before. You really need to pay attention, try to find the important, different information. All right. So that's number 2. Number 4. So this question, remember, in several of my videos, I emphasize this several times. The first time when I talk about HTML, IMG tag, right? IMG image tag, because image tag is very important in web pages. So I spent some time to explain this image tags. Then I talk about the image size, right? So when you display image size, there is something not that straightforward. Yeah. To display the right size, something that is not quite straightforward. Yeah. So and at that time I told you the answer to display the right size could be found in our textbook. Yeah. In the textbook, there is one place described this. Yeah. But the answer there is not that straightforward. Yeah. So only people with some experience, when they read that part, so then they can figure out. Yeah. For most of the beginners, even they read that paragraph, they do not know the exact meaning. Yeah. So that time. But later, remember, in our homework assignment, I remember homework assignment or some place, I give you that question. Okay, yeah. So later I explain, I give the answer. Yeah. So I couldn't remember practice question, comprehension question, or somewhere I give you that question. So later I explain the answer. Yeah. The answer is this B. Yeah. Because you only use one of the two attributes, width or height. Do not use both. If you use both, then you have the burden. So you have the burden. Yeah. Shaking. Yeah. You have the burden to, make the size right, the ratio. Yeah. Because for your page, you may not use the original image size. Original image could be very large. It's not good to put in one small region in your web page. Yeah. So you need to resize it. When you resize it, can you make width over height proportional to the original ratio? It is hard. Yeah. If you like to do the math, then it's possible. Yeah. But that's not the easiest way. The easiest way, only do one of the two dimensions. Only do width. If you do width, the browser will adjust the height proportionally based on your width. If you set height, the browser will adjust the width proportionally, based on the original ratio. So that's what we need. Okay? All right. Yeah. So this one, those students who study the videos and all the exercise questions well, they have no problem to get this question right. Yeah. But that small number, still about 4, 3 or 4 or 5, that number, missed this question. Yeah. Next one, number 7. Yeah. This one, so when you study, you really need to pay attention to some little thing. Yeah. Here, that is one. Yeah. Here, some students, they just use their intuition. So based on their experience to answer this question, then it is very likely they couldn't get it. Yeah. Because here there is something hidden. Many people do not notice that. Yeah. Here, on paper, we can use top, bottom, left, right, properties to adjust position of any element, but there is some condition. If you do this, there is some requirement you need to follow. Right? No matter what value it takes for the position property. Here, I point that out. I point the position property that may cause the problem. Position property, remember the position property value, there are many different values, right? Position property. Okay. Static, right? Absolute, relative, right? fixed, all right? You know, there is another one, right? Rarely used. Rarely used. There is another one. Okay? Yeah. All right. Here the problem is static. Static. If your position property is set to static, then no matter what values you use for those top reference, no change. The element position, you cannot change the element position. Okay? Yeah. So that's the problem. Yeah. Other than that, then excluding static for other values, then you can change. You can change. So if you do not notice this little point, when you write your programs, sometimes you may get a problem. When I set those property values y, when I refresh my page, I can never see the change. What happens? If you don't know this little thing, little hidden rule, then you will waste a lot of time when you try to figure out solving that problem. Okay? All right, yeah. So this is number 7. Number 8, yeah, about the IPv6 address. Yeah. So this one, in your homework assignment, this question, the missing rate is very high. Yeah, as I remember, very, very high, higher than 50%. Yeah. Higher than 50%, very high. So for that reason, I feel I need to give you another question about this topic. Yeah. But I do not want to go too far, make it too much harder for you. Yeah. So I just want to make it, slightly different from that same homework question. Yeah. So that one. Yeah. All right. So here I modify a little bit. Okay. Yeah. The rule, the same rule there. Yeah. All right. Is it possible that the symbol double colon, that symbol, yeah, because when we have multiple blocks of zeros, okay, based on the rule, multiple blocks of zeros, we can compress it as double colon. All right. So now our IPv6 address, remember, so it's a pretty long string, right? So many blocks. Okay, yeah. So many blocks there. All right, yeah. All right. So the question is it possible you get double colon one place, another double colon another place? Yeah. You need to use the rule to answer this question. So there is a rule. Now, the rule I tested in homework assignment number 1. The rule is if you do compression at one place, then the next occurrence of the same situation, you cannot do the same way. You have to use 1 0 to replace that block. So one block you use 1 0 to represent it. We cannot use double colon to do it. That is the question we did in homework 1, right? So I modified that slightly. Yeah. So I give you this situation. Yeah. So that's just a variation of our homework question. Not exactly the same question, but a close variation of that question. Why you cannot connect to that question, right? The answer is no. The reason is very simple. Why no? Because when you do this kind of simplification, okay, yeah, there is a conversion. So original IPv6, you convert to this simpler form. Can you recover to original IPv6 address? Yeah, do the reverse transition, right? Can you do that? You cannot, because you will get confused. Yeah, yeah. 2 places. Yeah. How many blocks you need to expand? You don't know. Do you need to, when you recover, do you need to cover 2 blocks of zeros? Do you need to cover 3 blocks of zeros? There are so many possibilities. Yeah. But if you use the way here, only one place, you can use double colon. The other places, if you have many zeros, you have to use this way. Then you have no confusion. When you do the reverse way, there is no confusion. Yeah, so you can easily translate back to the original IPv6 address. So that's the main point, yeah, for this question. Yeah. All right, the next one. Yeah, this one, so many students missed this question. Yeah. Remember, we had a similar question in our homework number 1, ABC, right? Yeah. Then, less than, greater than, these 2 symbols are very special. Yeah. So you need to use HTML entity to write it. Okay? Yeah. Entities, right? Yeah. Here, I check the same thing, yeah, because that question, the miss rate is extremely high. Miss rate is, yeah, very high. Yeah. So for that reason, I need to check this another time. So this time I changed the special symbols. I changed the special symbols. One special symbol, ampersand, sign, ampersand. Another white space. White space. These 2. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Then, so when you run that, yeah. Some people do not know small number. That's a small number. Do not know using this HTML entity for white space. So some students, small number, 2 or 3, yeah, do not know this. Non-breaking space, ampersand, semicolon, but quite some students, they just write in this way, ampersand, MBSP, and not using semicolon at the end. Not using semicolon at the end. There are several. Yeah, that's not good. Because for any HTML entity, we define it by ampersand entity name. Yeah, so we put some entity name. Sometimes entity number. Yeah, because some entity does not have name, does not have a name. Yeah, so we can use entity number. Yeah, but that part is not important. Just something here. At the end, you have to close it by a semicolon. Yeah. Yeah. So that's the format of the HTML entity. Yeah, quite some students missed this symbol. All right. There is although we can use 2, but some students just leave it one space. Yeah, that's okay. That's okay. Yeah. One space. Still, the browser can display that one space character. Yeah, without any problem. The biggest problem occurs at the ampersand. So many students, they do not know you cannot write ampersand directly. Yeah, because ampersand is a special character. See, you use ampersand for some special notation, right? Special symbol. That means the ampersand sign is a special character in HTML. So if you want to display it literally, you have to use the HTML entity way. Yeah. So that number pretty high. That number pretty high. Yeah. Yeah. So you have to use this way. Okay. Yeah. Ampersand AMP. That's the name of this entity. A and P, semicolon. All right, so this one, so this is a relatively big one, less than 50%, but I estimate approximately 40%, for about 40%. I can only use my impression, okay, my impression, about 40% of you missed this question. All right, this question number 10. So this is another one. So you missed a lot. You missed a lot. Okay, but the place you missed mainly in one special place, the star place. A small number of students missed this part. Small number of students missed that part. Very small. 1 or 2. But the remaining, the most part, give me start equals double quote 5. Roman character way. By logic. Based on your logic, it is very natural you use this way. I did the same thing. So think about when I create this question. Okay, when I made this question, the first time I guess the answer is this. Okay, because by logic, by intuition, it is very natural. Most people will guess this way. All right, but you cannot use logic. Sometimes, because something may not be based on the logic. So after I make this guess, I need to test it. So I write the code. Okay, so HTML. So I did this part. Then I display. When I use this one, the browser cannot recognize it. So the browser does not display Roman characters. The browser just display, 1, 2, 3, these numbers. Okay, the browser basically ignore it. If the browser cannot recognize it's the value, what's the meaning of that? The browser treat it as nothing. Okay, then after I change it to 5, because I know if it's not this 5, that should be the regular 5, normal 5, right? After I change the 5, when I display it, that's what I want. Okay, so for you, remember for this midterm test, you have 3 days, right? You have plenty of time. It's not like in class, 75 minutes. You have plenty of time. Can you write a code to test it a little bit? I believe some of you tested. I believe, okay? Some of you tested, but still, many of you didn't test it. So then you missed this part. Okay, so that's this question. Next one. In a HTML document, we want to display unordered list in the horizontal way so that we can use it as a menu. Can we do that? Remember this one? I gave one example in the lecture, right? Unordered list, LI, right? Unordered LI, okay? LI, okay? Close it. All right. Because at that time, we know these elements are block elements. Block elements. Block elements, we know they display vertically, right? Not horizontally. Vertically. Okay? The first list item. After that, next one, right below the first one. In the vertical arrangement. That's the block way. All right. Then we talk about we can change block element to inline element, right? So remember, block element to inline. So we change the display property. Remember? Display property from block to inline. The block value, that's the default. So default is the block for these elements. So you do not really need to set the value. The default is block. No. But CSS allows us to change its display value to inline. After you change inline, right? So what's the meaning of inline? Yeah. You display horizontally, right? So the first item, the second item inline, the same line, right? Yeah. Yeah. That's the horizontal way, right? Yeah. So we did that example. That is one example for that. Yeah. For unordered list. At that time, I made one comment. I said, yeah, this feature is pretty useful because it is very common. We may need to display horizontal menus, right? It's very common. We display horizontal menus, right? Yeah. So this is one way to do it. Yeah. There are so many different ways. So this is one way to do it. Okay. Yeah. All right. So that's this question. Yeah. Yeah. So you can see I create this question. So I want to check if you really pay attention to some points in the lecture. Yeah. In the lectures, something very special, and it is very useful. So I like to give some questions in the test. Yeah. Next one, number 12. This one, yeah. Ancestor, position ancestor. Yeah. I also talk about this in one lecture. Yeah. Yeah. So here, why it is false if an element does not have any positioned ancestor. Remember in the lecture we said if element does not have any, that's possible, then it will use the body element. Remember? Body element as its ancestor. Okay? Yeah. So when you set position, value, relative to what? Relative to body element. Because you always have a body element, right? In your HTML page, you always have a body element. Okay? Yeah. All right. So, yeah. That's this question.